So what I'm going to give you are questions, and each one of you needs to take the question and figure out the answer uh, from open access online venues. Okay, so what in the world, right? Um, Open access. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. You Google it. You're so comfortable with this. All you need to do is just figure out this term and you got it down. It's everything you see on the net that you can just get to by clicking on the URL. As soon as it asks you to pay for the content, it's no longer open access, okay? And have you run into that? Places where all of a sudden they put up a paywall and they're trying to monetize their content. And think of all the newspapers that have been free so far. I mean, you can just go online to Akron Dealer and Plain Dealer or whatever, Beacon Journal, and you get the stuff online for free. Really? Then who wants to buy the paper stuff? Well, they still make some sales, but it's getting to the point now, and it's going to be much more common, where journals, newspapers, the Wall Street Journal is doing this. I think Newsweek might be doing it, where they put up a paywall, and you can get some articles, like 1 out of 5, for free. But if you want to see the other ones, you have to buy a subscription, and you get a code, a key, or whatnot. And the subscriptions are like $2 a month or something. Well, that's not open access. Definitely the stuff that Akron and Kent and school places like that buy for you in their database subscription to EBSCO and JSTOR and other, Project Muse, other big journal archiving businesses, that's not free. I guarantee you it's not free. Just go look into the databases and you realize you're looking at a million, probably well, I actually don't know the price, but just an expensive investment to get you that information. So that's not open access. Open access is what you can get just by Googling the thing and finding it online. Online venues. So is Wikipedia open access? Is it an online venue, like a site, a publisher? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The thing about open access online venues is that often they're not vetted, they're not peer reviewed, and it's changing. It's changing a lot. It's getting a lot better. But at the beginning of it all, the idea was, hey, anyone can put up a website. Anyone can put up information. How do you know it's correct? How do you know it's rigorous? How can we trust that information? That is becoming less and less of a question you need to be truly concerned about. A lot of stuff on the web is becoming much more carefully established as it's being put up by fact-finding teams, by web editors, by the company that wants to produce good information, so it has oversight, peer review, that sort of thing. Okay, so, but you will still run across some crazy sources, right? Let's talk. I want to talk about that today, and I want you to realize that the assignment I'm going to give you is going to test you on this. It's going to test you on source evaluation. I say test, that's the wrong word. It's going to exercise you on this. This is what I want you to think about as you work through this little assignment. And it's going to also, challenge you to think about common knowledge. So do you have to cite common knowledge? Do you have to put it in parentheses at the end, and this is the author, and this is the page number? Well, common knowledge is a tricky thing. All right. And for example, how many of you know who our 16th president is? Goodness gracious. What did you do in high school class? History. Probably did what I did, right? That's sleep. What was it? Abraham Lincoln. Yeah. Who's our first president, for crying out loud? Don't disappoint me now. Washington, right? And yeah, where is the where's the Lincoln Memorial? San Francisco, right? So Washington D.C. All right, okay. So that's common knowledge, okay. What year did the Titanic sink? 1982? My friend, you're radically confused here about the Titanic. What year did the Titanic sink? 1911. 12. 1912. You're one off. What day? April 15th, I think, or was it 14th? I don't even know, right? I think it's 15th. April 15th. Hey, you know how we can answer this? Just Google it, right? We're gonna get the answer right there. That's fine. Hey, That's everywhere. It's in encyclopedias. It's in sites dedicated to the Titanic. It's all over the place. Is that common knowledge? Well, how many of you knew exactly what year and what day, it went down? So, maybe it wasn't common to us as a class, but it's common because it's just out there. It's like in a common space. Just go find it. So many people are just, you don't have to, they're not going to cite, according to New York Times, the Titanic went down. According to John Smith in his book, American Presidents, Lincoln was the 16th president. No one's going to cite it like that, all right? It's common knowledge. Well, here's something even worse. I mean, how many tons did the Titanic weigh? Well, who knows? Why do we need to know that? It's in an encyclopedia somewhere. So should we cite the encyclopedia? Well, at one point, when it's common knowledge like that, but you realize it's just a courtesy to your reader because you're getting really specific. 37,271 tons. Well, how do we know we're not like 1,000 tons off? So, sometimes it's just citation is an act of courtesy to your reader. Hey, this is where I got the information from. You can check it out yourself if you think that I might be fudging on the numbers. But it still is common information, okay? But when would you have to cite something as like coming from a certain author or a certain site? When the creation of that information belongs to them. Like we did studies, right, about breakfast habits and all that. We made that data. If we were to make a class blog and put that data on the blog, we are the creators of that knowledge. So people should cite us when they get those numbers and all that. First of all, because it's not intuitive, it's not a fact of history, and it belongs to us. That data belongs to us. So at that point, the fact that the Titanic went down on April 15th, 1912 doesn't belong to anybody, does it? But if we were to put right up our reports, our surveys, and if I were to send in one paper copy, or maybe even a digital now, to the Library of Congress, all I need to do is send in one. That's all I need to. I don't even have to be a publisher. I just need to send it into the Library of Congress. I own the copyright in such a way that I can legally defend it. I own the copyright as soon as I write the thing. That's mine. I have the copyright for this. It would just be very hard to defend that in court. Yeah, it's intellectual property, right. It would be very hard for me to defend this in terms of my property in court if I did not have an identical copy at the Library of Congress. So it's just a safeguard. But that would be our information. We would have the copyright to that report, even if it's just a class blog. So people would have to cite us, okay? So if you want to think in terms of, well, who owns this fact? Is it part of like Americana or just history, or does someone own it in the sense that they made it? This is their voice. This is their opinion. This is their interpretation. This is the results of their study. If it's an ownership issue, you need to cite the source. Nobody owns the fact that what had just become the World Trade Center is now the largest building in the U.S. No one owns that fact, my friends. Okay, so that would be common knowledge. But here's another thing you need to follow. Anytime you quote from somebody word for word, even if it's the most banal and common fact around, if you're quoting word for word from some source, you need to cite that. You need to cite it. So common knowledge is not as easy a concept to understand and practice as some might think it. Okay, it really should deserve maybe a week of instruction and practice, but we don't have that, so we'll just take what we can. What I want you to do then with the question I give you, okay, is I want you to Google it or Bing it, I guess, or whatever. Use whatever search engine you want to use, okay? But you'll need to get the answer online for your question, and it needs to come from three sources. And you need to list out the sources, either by the name of the article that you found or the URL if it's not like some huge 10-line URL or something. And so you'll need to make sure that you get the answer in your own words. After looking at the data from three sources, cobble together an answer that agrees with what they're saying. And so then you would get the idea. This is common knowledge here, as long as they're not citing each other. And And then go ahead and list out the 3 places you found you used to produce your answer. So I'm going to show you an example, okay? Here's a question for you. One of you lucky souls might actually get this, but how long is it? Hold on a second. I forgot the question. Oh, when does the human body? There we go. When does the human body quit growing? Okay. 21? 25? Well, your eyeballs never grew. The size of your eyeballs were what they were when you were a baby. Your nose never stops growing, and apparently your skull never stops growing, believe it or not. But anyway, at what age do our bodies stop growing? Look, I have results, right? Now, I can't... Okay, come back over here. I can just look at the results hits and kind of say, 24, 25, 21, 18... I don't want you just to do that. I want you to actually go into the site itself and see if you can get that little paragraph and read it. I don't want you to copy and paste it. You are going to enter your information for this class and this version of the assignment. You're going to enter it into a discussion board. You don't have to reply to anyone. You just put your information up. I need a public space for it so everyone can see it. But I'm not going to ask you to do any sort of replying. But and I'll give you all those instructions in an announcement sometime tonight or before noon tomorrow. All right, but your job is simply to produce the answer in a complete sentence or 2 if you need to. All right, and don't skip on the qualifications. So if you can't nail it down to a certain number or something like that, then you need to include the range. Like here, I think it would be safer to say 21 to 25. All right, but I don't want just 21 to 25. I want something like the human body stops apparently stops developing in the main between ages 21 to 25, although the skull keeps on growing and I guess some other stuff keep on growing. You got to find that out. So I want kind of a meaty answer, but I do want it in a paragraph, a full sentence, complete sentence. Now, so you click on these things once you find it. By the way, make sure that you note what search engine you're using. So because I'm going to ask you what search engine. So here it's Chrome, Google. Yes, ma'am.
Do you just want us to list our 3 sources under on the discussion board?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. URLs or so like right here. Let me see if I can open this. Let's see. Okay. Now, you might want to put curiosity.com as a source, but you know what? That's just going to take me to the main page of this whole site, right? It's not going to take me directly to this, which would really help me if I can get directly to this. This is not a long URL. I don't mind at all if you copy and paste the URL, just that. So I'm not asking that you need to cite it like an APA or MLA for the discussion. You can just do the URL if it's not like huge. If you don't want to do the URL, just go ahead and just copy that. Or better yet, maybe copy part of the title and a little bit more. Because as soon as I get a string of words and I copy and paste those strings into a search engine, I'll get it. I probably will get it. So a short URL would be fine, probably preferable as long as it's not huge. If not, just copy and paste the title. But now I want you to look at it. Okay, Barbie Turner. The human body grows steadily from birth, and by the late teens, the skeletal system has fully formed. Although you're unlikely to grow any taller after the age of 20, scientists have recently discovered that some bones never stop growing as you age. Source, okay. And she has a link to that. Now, I don't know if it's a link to just the University of North Carolina. I actually don't want to click on it because it'll take another 5 minutes, 5 seconds or something. The internet's a little slow here, apparently. If it just goes to the University of North Carolina, she's not listing her sources, right? She's just linking to the university homepage. When you click on this, it actually goes to the study. She is disclosing her sources. You realize that? Okay. So this now in 2011 study, she's willing to engage sources and give you a pretty decent answer, I think. All right. But notice what's on the side here. Advertisements. But are they super wacky? Are they like lose 50 pounds overnight or some crazy thing like that. No, I want you to start thinking ads in terms of tiers or levels of quality in terms of style and appropriateness and elegance, and these are not very intrusive, and they look sort of decent. They at least have some sort of organization to them. Anyway, let me go back. Oh, let's see. Answered. Okay, there's a link here. And I clicked on it. I couldn't resist. See how it's taking some time? I'm hoping that I get, yes. Okay, so you get a bio, you get a full view. At least they're willing to let you know who wrote it and what else he's done, her experience, that sort of thing, okay? So back out to the search list. How about this? When does the human body start growing? Ask.com, okay. Because she said 20. Here's 18 to 21. I mean, really, what's the age? And as I skim it, I realize that I need to look at this one too, because this says 24 to 25. Are we really looking at an age range from 18 to 25? So anyway, let me open this one up. So when does the human body start growing? Answer. That sounds so final, doesn't it? Answer. Here it is. The human body is said to stop growing between ages 18 and 21. But who said this? So they really are treating it as common knowledge, aren't they? They're not giving you any sources. While the body will stop growing, some bones continue to grow over a lifetime. It's as if they went to that lady site and just that one we were just at and just like paraphrased it in 3 lines. And here's my answer. The pelvic bone widens approximately 1 inch after the age of 20, and the skull never stops growing. Okay. So here are questions and answers related to it, but they're not the same question. Well, maybe this one is. Okay. But it's just... what's this? Chocolate? Really? Here's a chocolate ad. Pardon? Your weight loss. Yes, that's right. That's right. And then who wrote this thing? Where's the author? What might this be? Look, it's Ask. Ask is a search engine. Might not this be computer generated? It could be. Could be. Do I want to use this source? Is it saying basically what the other one was saying, more or less? Do I want? What's going to look better? What's going to look better on my works cited list? That's what I want to know. So if I have ask.com telling me this, and I can't even get an author for it, and if I were to use it in my paper and reference it in the back, it's just like ask.com. But if I can find the very same thing at Smithsonian.org, guess which one I'm using in my paper? Smithsonian. I'm going to get an author. I'm going to get a storied institution. In other words, one that's been around for a while, one that has credibility. It's just going to look a whole lot better. They might be saying the exact same thing. I'm using Smithsonian. There's no question in my mind. All right. So what I want you to do when you get your answer, you have to look at 3 sources, right? But then I want you to grade the sources. All right. But before I move on to that, I want to show you one more thing, though. Here's a funny looking one. Okay. How's this one? Life's Little Mysteries. You can get the gift edition hardcover book. Makes a great gift idea for everyone. Here it is. If you're wondering about the mysteries of life, this might not be for you because these are the little mysteries. Okay. And then you get, I guess like telescopes and maps. All right. Again, great gift for anyone. Now you can also win instantly from Netflix, right? Something, I guess, unlimited TV episodes. Do it right now. You might win. Here's Spin to Win. I don't know what this is winning. $1,000. I don't even know who's doing this. You can follow them all over the place. I don't know why you would want that, but play a video of some guy reading a book. Maybe it's Little Mysteries on the beach. It really does look like Life's Little Mystery. Ads: Jesus, hoax or reality? If you're wondering. And if you get trouble with that one, maybe you need to learn how to do meditation. So here's how to do meditation. And then if you just give it all up, just run after money, and here's how to buy gold. So, you know, what is this? Physical gold shipped to your door free. I mean, who's going to believe that you can get a gold ingot shipped to your door for free? I suppose you have to pay for it, but I mean, really, are you going to let the mailman deliver your gold ingot?
Free shipping, that's what they're saying.
I know it's free shipping, but I mean, are you going to let the mailman? My question is, are you going to let the USPS, who's like going bankrupt? Remember, farewell my mailbox. Are you going to let them ship a gold ingot to you? Well, maybe they say, oh, we got lost in the mail. Here's the insurance. You know, well, I guess they would have trouble with the insurance, but you know, this thing is ridiculous. That's why we're laughing. The root word of ridiculous is reset. You know, it's making you laugh. So why do we even bother with UFO found on ocean floor? When I can find it, it's Smithsonian.org. Actually, this did make its waves around pretty credible sources. I don't know if the Smithsonian did it, but sources covered this story that were much better than Life's Little Mysteries. I'm not going to use this as a source. This is like an F or a D if you're going to grade sources. But you know what the irony is? Or maybe not irony, but you know what the funny thing is? Everything that this article is saying is repeated in like CNN.com. I don't want to take up time finding it, but I know CNN did it. And they use the same information. There's no lies down here. I mean, if there are lies, CNN is spreading the lies too. So, but which one am I going to use? Life's Little Mysteries or CNN? I'm going to use CNN.com. It just looks better. But they're using the same thing. It's the same. It's almost the same video. Same. You get the idea. So, you know, you got to think of this is your source, right? And this is your house source. The house makes the occupant look really dumb. Go find a better house for this before you use it. All right. And you can. CNN covers the story, and I don't know if they did any of you get interested in this thing? Did you see this happening? So some guy does a sonar from the bottom of the ocean, and he finds a perfect circle down there with a hatch on it. You can't dispute it. I mean, it's right there. That's the radar, it has like a skid mark on it. You see the little? I don't know if you can see it, but you see that little skid mark right there? So it's as if it hit and then buried itself in the silt or whatnot. And this looks like the pod. It has some square stuff on the side, and it looks like it has pads. Trouble is, it's like way deep in some trench or somewhere. It's not that easy to get down there and open it up. But people got really excited about this for a while. Anyway, I would rate this as a D. I just would. It just all this stuff around here, and this stuff is, this is just silly, and then this stuff. To go back to what I want you to do. Okay, so what are you going to get? You're going to get a question. Answer it. Sentence. Okay. List your 3 sources, URL, or copy paste of title under your answer. By each source, grade. Put a grade. A, B, C, D. Don't use F's, okay? Don't use an F. Now, so what makes an A? What makes a credible source? Okay, here we go. This is really what you need to use to mark. Now, I'm not asking you, hey, don't use anything that's not an A source. I want you to use, let's go ahead and make two levels, the AB, the upper half, and the lower half. I want you to use at least one of these. I would prefer 2 of the 3. I would, just out of curiosity, because I would like to make a collection of these things to maybe get a C or a D if you find one. Okay? And just make sure that the actual words match up with what the better ones are saying. But, like Ask.com, it said 21. Hey, another better source said 18 to 24, 23. 21's right in the middle there. That's pretty good. So, Ask.com was not giving me a lie, it turns out. But it's just a weak source. No authors. It looked computer generated. All right. That UFO thing, the actual data of the article matches the CNN stuff. I know because I checked it out. But that whole, buy gold, it gets shipped to your door stuff, that puts it as a C or a D for me, a D. But I wouldn't, go ahead and you might want to try to find at least one of those just for the fun of it, and let me see. Let's see what. It would be interesting to see that the actual data matches up, but they do such a poor job with their advertising or their source just looks silly that no one really looks at it as a credible source. Well, what makes a credible source? Okay, first of all, author's name. You get an author. Okay, credentials or experience. Okay, sometimes you get an affiliated organization. Okay, like it's connected to the Chicago School of Health or something like that. All right. You get an openness with its own source work. They'll tell you where they're getting their sources, or they'll refer you to other sources. They'll link it to some document or some person or something like that. Okay, so they're giving you the courtesy of telling you this is where I got the information from. All right. Okay, so it's going to be a professional housing of site. I'm going to put this in quotations just so you know I'm using it figuratively. What I mean by that is you're going to find the article, right? But the article is going to be, often it's going to be embedded in a house site. I mean, it's going to be in a web page with other stuff on it, like ads and the banner and all that, and then there's the article. That we can view as its house site. And, the credible sources are going to want to be involved with credible houses in that sense. Credible, venues. Okay, let me ask you this. Is there any other thing that we need to put in here in terms of what you think makes a source credible? You think of anything else? Well, I mean, one last thing is going to be, and it might not be. I'm not talking about like great style and just like engaging and capturing writing style or fantastic diction or anything like that, but there is going to be a professional approach to the act of writing. It's going to, often it'll sound, the words itself are going to sound, well, at least grammatically correct. They're going to be away from typos and misspellings, and it's just going to sound like somebody edited it. And they were concerned about how the information was voiced, was articulated. So it's just going to have that professional feel to it, all right? So anyway, use these to grade the sources. And let's say, if it has 3 of the 5, you give it an A or a B. If it has 4 of the 5, give it an A. 3 of the 5, give it a B. If it has only 2, maybe a BC. If it doesn't have any of these, or maybe just 1, give it a D or a C. I'm not going to challenge you on that. I just want to see how you start evaluating the sources you're looking at, okay? All right. So any questions on this? Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you your questions now.